Hey everyone, so this is John O, and if we could just do me a favor and give me a quick message in the chat if you can hear me. Just want to make sure that everyone's hearing my voice. Okay. And if anybody could do me a favor and just write in the chat box on the right side, and let me know if you're seeing. I'm sorry, hearing me. I'm currently not sharing my camera, but I'll do that in a moment. Okay, Matthew tells me you can hear me. Great. We're just waiting for a couple more people to join, and then we're going to kick it off. So I'm just going to pause my mic for a second. It's going to go quiet, and I'll be back momentarily. Okay. Hey, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I appreciate everybody being here. And Pat, if you're there, go ahead and pipe up, and we'll make sure that you're being heard as well.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Awesome. So we got Pat in. We're good. Okay, so Pat is going to be here with me today to field any questions. I'll be focused on going through a tutorial, and Pat's going to be there to answer questions or make sure that I stop babbling on and I answer something that you guys need. So I'll also ask that everybody, as much as possible, try to keep the questions, in regards to what the topic is today and what we're doing, so that we can make sure everybody gets the most value out of the session. And with that, also, guys, it'll be recorded as well. And if somebody wants a recording link to watch it, just go ahead and email us. We'll send that out to you. Okay, so without further ado, what we're going to do today is, I actually got some feedback from our last. We're going to continue on the same topic, but I got some feedback from some people, and I think that, what I want to do is, I'm probably going to do this over the span of a few webinars, because it's really a large topic, and I want to make sure that everybody has a really solid understanding of how to use Hubbli in a very basic sense for the enrollment process and from the beginning. So let's just assume, I'm gonna actually whip open my presentation here. I'm going to share my screen. And let me know if you're not seeing any of this, or if you are. So let's just assume that you've got an inquiry form on your site, and you've got let's say a Facebook ad, and that leads directly to the inquiry form. So that inquiry form is going to be located on a page on your site, and then you need to be notified what's happening. So what I want to do is talk about that very beginning part of the process, and without getting into the really advanced workflow, which is not a feature that everybody has. I just want to let everybody know, like, the workflow, some customers have it, some don't. The workflow is that is an additional feature we add. It's a very advanced feature. It's an advanced tool set, and it's not the type of thing that you're going to get any value on without the appropriate training, value from without the appropriate training on it, or at least having it configured properly. So, so when a school wants to use the workflow feature, which kind of takes what we're going to talk about today and some of what I talked about last week, and it really adds a completely automated workflow process to your enrollment. It is available to everybody, but we do require a consulting package to be purchased, so it's implemented. It's the type of thing that it's the type of customer service we try to strive for at Hubbli, where you know if it's an advanced tool that really does require some training time, we don't want to just sell it to you or give it to you and not get anything out of it. We're going to ensure that if you're going to invest your time into it, you're going to get value out of it. So the way it works is, if you want the workflow added to your site, it requires 10 sessions, 10 half-an-hour sessions, to be booked, and so that's those sessions are $99 each, and it's an implementation, and it's a training program where we guide you through it day after day. It has to be 10 consecutive daily, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks, half an hour a day. That's the commitment that has to be made for us to do this. And we are going to literally, hold your hand through it. It's kind of like I always describe it like dancing on someone else's feet, so that this you don't, the skills are taught to you by us, walking you through everything. You actually do all the work. We watch your screen. We guide you through the process. You don't have to figure it out for yourself, and we do it, and it's repetitive day after day, and we build these workflows. We also spend time at the beginning developing a plan like this, like what you're seeing right here. This is a workflow plan. This is called a laneway diagram. So for everybody that's involved in your enrollment process, we're going to create another lane. So there might be two generally, there might be three. You might have a third person or a third department, so to speak, involved with the process. And we will map out how your school works. And this is the first step, so that we've got a really clear understanding of what we need to build, and then we go and build it and implement it, and we essentially do it for you, um, as if we're kind of like, controlling your mouse for you, but we just we look at your screen and we tell you every step of the way. It's basically it's $9.99. That's $999 for 10 sessions. And after that, you've got your workflow, and you've got a really solid training program where you've got the skills to go and continue to use it, and get more and more value out of it, because it works in any type of paperwork process or administrative process, not just enrollment, although enrollment is probably the biggest and most obvious place where it can really have an impact. All that said, you don't need that to get a ton of value out of the basic Hubbli digital form feature, which already has some of the like automation in place. And that's what I'm going to show you. We have a lot of schools that something like this is just not the right fit for them. There could be a much smaller school, and maybe they've only got 20 or 30 kids, and like they really don't need a fully optimized process, but they actually get our forms. The basic forms features comes with some really helpful tools, that can automatically send, based on your actions, um, the messages, and for different scenarios. So that's what we're going to cover today, the very beginning of this. Okay, and so let's just assume you've got a Facebook ad, and let's just see here. I'm going to switch back, share the right screen. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a basic inquiry form. And even if, guys, even if you feel like this is, you've covered this before, or you've got the workflow system, this is really important information, because it's just something that everybody needs to make sure that they understand. These tools, what I'm going to show you today, you can use it and take it further. And these basic skills are really, really important to I think rehash and go over. I'm going to actually just switch into Naomi's account, so that we're all seeing having the right experience. So she's the director of this school. I'm going to switch into her account. Okay, here we go back to the dashboard. Okay. And also, guys, remember, and I apologize for the longer page load. When we do a Google Hangout, it really slows down the whole browser experience. So, so it's just something we're going to have to live with while we do this. All right, let's go to the forms. First step is to create a form. So I'm going to click New Form, and I'm just going to make a really quick inquiry form. I always suggest keeping it as short as possible, but still making sure that you're gathering whatever information you need. whatever information you need to help you. Oops, I already have one in there. You know what? Well, I'm going to build one from scratch. I'm going to get inquiry form 2. I want to go through this whole process. Great. So you want to have whatever information you need to help you qualify this prospective family as the right fit. Somebody that's really essentially, not to sound rude, but somebody that is worth your time to talk to or give a tour with. You do not, so if there is a way that you can determine right out of the gate before even calling them, why not say, be able to identify before even a phone call that this person that came from this Facebook ad, filled out the form, gave us some information that tells us, you know what, this person is, I already know, not the right fit. If there's something that you can determine at that point, it's worth it to do it. So here we go. We're just going to jump into advanced fields. I'm going to click on name. These are called advanced fields because they are pre-formatted, for different scenarios like name, as an example. And we're going to say we're going to want email address, of course, and we're going to want a phone number. And I'm also going to add one qualifier question, which, is just an example. So I'm going to drag a radio button over. And this one question is going to be, what age is your child? And so let's change it. What level of program are you? Preschool, kindergarten, and elementary. So 3 different levels. Okay, one other thing I'm going to add, and this is super important, is another radio button. I'm actually going to put it here at the top. And this is going to be a field that only we use. We're going to call this status. We're going to say, list. Let's see here, waiting list, and we could say applied. So this is, in a way, this is kind of like a sales pipeline. This is what this is, and everybody has somewhat different terminology for this, and in different scenarios, you use this differently. The important thing about this is that this is actually going to be the field where you're going to be coming back to update the status of this family. And that's going to tell the system what should happen, if a certain message should go out or not. Um, or let's say, approved, and let's say not approved. Whatever reason, sometimes you just don't want that person in your school, right? Like you met the first parent, and you thought they were great, and then you met the next parent, and you're like, oh boy, I know something that Tim Selden always talks about is, you should be more interested, depending on the age level, but you should be more interested in the parents than the children. Because unless there's a real problem with the child, they're probably not going to be the ones making your life horrible or causing other parents to leave your school. Whereas other families to leave your school, whereas that is what the parents have the power to do, for sure. Okay, so 3 simple statuses for this application. Another key thing here, we're gonna go to advanced, and we're gonna make this an admin only. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and update this. Okay, now there is as soon as you make a form, right, there's a page that's created for the form. Now, it'll be automatically added to the site. It's automatically available on the front of the site under the forms page. But just so you know, guys, you can always find the exact link to every form. Once it's created, you go into settings, and you'll be able to see inside there's 2 links that are right up at the top here. Here is the form entry page, so I'm going to click on that. And here is the entry list page that's on the available. Of course, all the entries are available in the forms, in the dashboard here under forms. You can go into entries and look in that form for the entries, but also on the front end as this gets filled out. There's no entries here, but this is the front end list, right? And so that's how you get to it from the settings page. Here's that form. And we'll go ahead and add a couple entries, but we're going to make a couple more updates here. One thing I'm going to do as well, because this is an inquiry form, it's important to take this one step. Most of your forms are meant internally, are meant for people that are inside, of your community already. When you create a form, by default, this setting is checked off, require user to be logged in. So we're going to uncheck that. So all of a sudden, if we update this, it is now available to anybody from the public, which means, which is very important, if you have a Facebook ad that's sending people to a landing page where they access this form, you don't want them to have to log in because they don't have a login. They're not part of your community just yet. So they don't access the private areas of your Hubbli site. So that's been set up. And now we're going to go to the notifications. So this is really important. So this is where things, this is where like sort of the minimal automation can happen for anybody with Hubbli. So currently, by default, there's always an admin notification. Whoever is the site admin, and site admin means specifically the person that set up the site. That's a setting that can be updated, but there's one user that is the quote unquote site admin. You can have many administrators on the site, but they aren't the main site admin. That within the settings section here, you can identify who the actual main site admin is. And so what we're going to do is add a new notification. And we're going to add something to it that's called conditional logic. So this is going to be the notification that is probably the nicest one to send out for everybody, which is approval notification. Okay. Now the event happens when the form is submitted. Okay. And we're going to send it to, with this notification, this is one that's going to go out to the parent that is applying. So we're going to select the field from the form, and it's the email field, of course. That's the one where they put their email address in. And you can change these by default. Again, it's the admin. We're just going to leave that with the default because that would make sense in most times. But you could specify the name to be, Hubblyville School. you want, or any particular name. By default, the admin email, it'll come from the name of the administrator of the school. Subject. So we could say, you know, Hubblyville approval. And if you want, you can actually add in merge tags too, to pull in data from the from any of the fields that were in the form. So let's just make this really, we're going to do a real quick branding here of this email. I'm going to grab our logo for the school here. Let's do a search for logo. Give it a centering. Okay, make it a little bit smaller. And hello, and I'm actually going to grab those merge fields. I'm going to say name first, hello, first name. So nice personalized message here. We are really happy to let you know that you have been approved for the Hubblyville enrollment process.
John, we have a quick
simple.
question.
Yes, hit me.
Okay, we want to know if you can set the notification to send acknowledgement plus a copy of whatever the person submitted.
Yes, you can. That's a really great question. I like them, especially when I can say yes. Those are my favorite questions. So now, now, sending like all the information that was submitted is incredibly easy. The default notification that I showed you before, the admin, actually has everything in there. If you want to just, so as an example, how we might put that here, if you want it to go back to the parent when you're saying approval, you could say, something like, here's the, all the info you submitted. I'm not sure if this makes sense to send it to the parent, but it certainly makes sense to send it to a staff member that has to manage the enrollment process, right? So, but and you can create as many notifications as you want to go out to whoever you want. This one particularly is going back to the parent. In the scenario that you wanted to send it back to the parent, you would just go, you would, I guess, let them know what this information is, and then you would click on all submitted fields. So that's a merge tag that will now display everything, the entire entry that they submitted, all the information that they input, all the fields right there. And of course, this works for any form and any notification. So you can either select piece by piece, like I did up here, like first name, right? And that sends them, so it's personalizing the message back to them, or you can just real quickly select all fields and the entire entry will be displayed. Okay, so that's us just making a really quick notification. Now we're also going to add conditional logic to this, because this doesn't go out anytime. It only goes out when status is approved. So this was easy because I didn't have to even select anything. But if it, we're going to make another one that's maybe not approved. The dreaded rejection email, which we'd never call it rejection, of course. So here we go. So, and we're going to actually also click send on updating, which is important, because this is a form where you're going to make updates and send notifications based on whether they're updated or not. I'm going to save that notification, and now I'm going to send a different notification. I'm going to create, a different notification. So we're going to call this not approved. Boo. And the form is submitted, and the email is going to be from the email field. from name, Hubbliville, oops, enemy. And we're going to say, so Hubbliville application status. Just make it a nice generic subject, so we're not, you know, I guess making it, we don't want the subject to say you're not approved. So we could say, hello, oh, let's add our branding real quickly. Hello, first name. We sorry to, it's a standard thing. We regret to inform you. We are sorry to inform you that we won't be able to approve you for the Hubbliville application process. Of course, you probably want to put your voice to this and, you know, word it in a way that's not so generic and cold, of course, but just for time's sake, let's just be quick. And again, conditional logic on this notification. Status is not approved. Send on updating. Okay. And for good measure, we'll make 1/3 notification for the waiting list. Form is submitted, select email, from, go. And our logo. Hi, first name. Thank you for applying to Hubbli. Fortunately, with an R. Thank you, Grammarly. We don't have space, but we are keeping you on our waiting list. We want you, we just can't have you right now. Conditional for logic and waiting list upon updating. Send save notification. Okay, it is locked and loaded. So let's run this through a couple times. Let's pretend that I'm gonna here make sure I'm sharing my entire screen. Okay. You know, one thing I'm going to make one more step here. I'm going to go to the Hubbli homepage, and I'm going to link the big Enroll Now button to the application to this form. I'm going to grab that link. So this is the page we have set to be the home page. Oops. Let's switch back to my super admin role here. Oh yes, it's a widget actually. I forgot about that. I'm going to update the widget. So this button is placed inside of a widget right now. So we're going to edit the widget. We're going to go to customize the site, go into the widgets for this page, homepage right sidebar. So that's here, it's the right sidebar. And it's a text widget where we have this button, it's a link. They even published that. And now if I go to another browser, and so I'm okay, I just landed here. I went to a Facebook, I saw a Facebook ad from your school. I clicked on it and I'm clicking enroll now. It takes me to the form. This is the form we just filled out. So first name, let's just say test, test. Well, I'll make this a little more distinct. Testing inquiry. Fast inquiry at mailinator.com. Phone number. And I'm interested in preschool. Submit. Okay. Now this confirmation, we can talk about this too. This can be changed. This is just the standard. Thanks for contacting us. So this could be anything. You can go in and edit this, add pictures. You could actually send them to another page. There's a lot of different options for the confirmation, but this is just the default that comes with a form. As soon as you make it, it's there automatically. So what would be really neat actually is if instead of hitting hit here, some schools have it so they automatically go to the school calendar or an appointments tour booking calendar and select tour. So it's like an automatic redirect to the tour booking calendar. That's another way of making that process really easy for a prospective parent. Now, so all right, so you've got that form and you've got that entry. So let's go take a look at the entry for that. So I'm going down to forms. So many forms on this one. Okay, so these are the entries for the inquiry form. And so I'm sure, especially if you guys have Facebook ads or whatnot, you guys are going to have a list of entries. But if we go, currently, if you notice, there is no status in here, right? So we can actually edit this entry right from here. You can do this from the front end like this, or you can do this also from the dashboard. So if I click edit entry, so you know what, I want to make this entry, okay, approved. I'm going to hit update. Okay, so now I'm going to go check the inbox for that person. So this is just a fake inbox tester that I'm going into. This would be like, a parent going into their Gmail or something on, hey, Hubblyville School, Hubblyville approval. We are approved. Here it is, guys. And look, it's even showing them everything right here. Hello, test inquiry. That's the first name. We're really happy to let you know that you've been approved for the Hubblyville enrollment process. Here's all the info you submitted. Now, so that's everything that they submitted. Obviously, that's kind of, I think that it's kind of a weird use case to do that in. But what probably would be better there is to have a link to something like, click here again. What's the next thing you want them to do? Probably go book a tour, right? Or whatever the next step is in your process. You could have a link to that right here. So that's, we'd go back into that form notification and add that link, and that would link them in there. Okay. Now, what if we go back here and we actually edit this entry again? So let's just say another entry came in, and we're going to move them to not approved. So what happens? And also, I'm going to refresh this page. So what we have here is we can see that this person, first name, last name, an email address or whatnot, is currently in the not approved status. So what we could also do is even have a default status. So when they first set it up, when they first submit their entry, by default it could say needs to be, or needs approval, or please update, or something to indicate to you, because you're going to have a list, and if you have, let's say you've got 30 inquiries, hopefully you'll have even more. You can sort by clicking on the status, and you can see everybody that needs approval, or everybody that's been not approved, or everyone that's on the waiting list. Like, everybody right there is a quick list of everyone that would be on your waiting list, right? So it's a really simple way to actually have a good idea of who's in your your enrollment funnel. So we made that update. Let's go back to Mailinator and check the inbox again. Oh, here's that second update that we made. So let's just assume that this person, didn't get the previous email. They weren't approved, but they were actually not approved. So we've got this next message. We're sorry to inform you that we won't be able to approve you for the Hubblyville application process. So again, this language is, pretty generic and short and cold, but we put the time in. You probably have a million, like, you guys can write this up in 2 seconds because you probably do them manually most of the time, or you might even have some templates, set aside. So you can just copy and paste your template right in there. And all you have to do is add a merge tag or two, make it look nice, and then that's done. And that works the same way every time, and you never have to go through the steps of copying and pasting a template email or writing it from scratch anymore. So a couple of things that all you have to do is, one click, you go in and say approved, save it, and then they get that message. It's the right message for the the right place in the process. So are there any questions at this point? Any other questions? Take a break and make sure that we're not leaving people wondering things.
Looks like we're good with no questions, Jono.
Well, we'll just give them a minute to type it in. Sometimes it takes a little bit.
Okay. Okay, we do have one question, and Emma wants to know if she can check that list of forms.
I'm not sure exactly what that means. Can I check the list of forms?
Yep, it's the next part of it is the list of forms we see on the admin side, not the same for all parents viewing.
The list of forms we see on the admin side is not the same for all parents viewing.
Okay, wait a minute, she's typing more.
Okay. I know you're from a different continent, but we both speak English. And yours is more correct, of course. Emma's coming from the UK. When a parent sees the forms page, what do they see? Ah, okay, great. So when they see the forms page, they don't see that. And by the way, it totally depends also. So by default, when a form is created, they will only see forms that number one, that if they're logged in. Number two, if it's that forms page here. If we go to this page, so these I'm seeing every single form, and this is our demo site. So we've got just a ridiculous amount of forms in here because we're always just whipping them up for demo purposes. But as in Jono's fake sign up form, right? So lesson planning forms, yada yada, and then so these forms. First of all, there's a filter whether it requires someone to be logged in to see. Number two, you can assign a form to a group. So if a form is assigned to, let's say, a staff group, so these are forms just for the staff to fill out, assign it to the staff group. Of course, your staff should be in the staff group, and then only the staff will see that form, and no parents will see that form. So maybe scope and sequence would make sense to only be there for the staff, or maybe an incident report or something like that. Whereas, let's say you've got a emergency contact information form. So that's something that all parents that are logged in should have access to, right? And they should go in there, select their child, and then they can update that information anytime. Really helpful. That's something that a lot of schools are getting a lot of benefit from. So that's now in regards to the forms, you have really granular control. To show you here on this inquiry form that we created. So let's just say, oops, that's the wrong one. Required user to be logged in. So you can actually set, we've got some old roles in here that don't even apply anymore. You've got the ability to, you've got all these different types of permissions. Roles, so you can set permissions on these forms based on either a user's role or based on that specific user. So roles allowed to view their existing entries. So basically what this means is anybody that can view entries that they submitted, their entries, not others. And then you've got roles allowed to modify their entries. So generally speaking, anybody that fills out a form can go in and view their entries, not others, just theirs, and edit their entries. Then you've got roles allowed to view others' entries. I should probably underline that, others' entries, right? So very rarely does one person have to see the entries of another person, unless generally you're on the administration, or maybe you're a lead teacher or something. You've got some type of managerial status and you need to see entries of other people, so that role could be added in here. So let's just say you've got some type of special lead teacher or something. And then again, here's roles allowed to modify others' entries. So let's just, so by the way, and I'll just state so it's clear, if you're a school admin, if you are the admin of your school, like in Hubbli meaning, and you're the site admin, you have permissions. You have all of these permissions automatically. You don't have to add yourself or your admin, to this. Okay, now then you can get specific. Users allowed to view their entries. Users allowed to view others' entries. So like, let's just say you've got some parent, like the use case for this is you've got a parent volunteer and they actually are helping you with the enrollment process, and I think we all know that parent volunteers sometimes really keep the schools operating, especially when you're not using a tool like Hubbli and everything's done on paper. That's man, the stories I've heard. So so when you've got that parent, I mean, I've talked to so many parents like this, like they spend weeks, sometimes months working part-time and even sometimes full-time hours at different seasons to just help the school manage things in the office. So if that parent volunteer needs to have access to any particular entries of a form on the front end that like that, then you can add that person in here. So let's just say that's John O'Landon parent. So let's just say there's a parent named John O'Landon, and you can just add
Jono,
them. Yes.
we're still seeing your face.
Oh, are you? Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
I'm so sorry.
I wish you'd said that 5 minutes ago.
I
No problem. Let me
I
just jump back.
I thought it was just me. I apologize, everyone.
Okay, so now that you in your mind you've been imagining what I'm talking about, this is what I've been talking about. When you go into the settings of the form, are you guys seeing it now? Can I get a yes? Can I get an amen? You guys
Yes,
see it?
amen.
Yeah, thank you. So so we've got roles. Okay, so as I described, if you want to add any permissions of viewing or modifying either somebody's own entries or somebody else's entries, right? Then you can do it by role up here. These are the 4 by role, and then these are the 4 by particular users. So again, if you had a specific parent volunteer that had to have access to the entries of a particular form to even go in or see them, but maybe even go in and edit them for whatever reason, you can add that person. User allowed to modify, there we go, others entries. You would add that person to this bottom one. So this is like the most this is the highest level of permissions for this form data, right? They can actually go in and edit the entry. It's like having access to that paper filing cabinet and being able to go in and erase something and rewrite it. And so, and you can set this up per form, of course. Okay, so that's how that works. Now I'm going to remove that. So that's how you can really control who can see what. By default, these forms out of the gate are set up for 95% of the most standard scenarios for permissions, but every school's got that one volunteer or that one situation or that one state requirement, whatever it is, to be able to go in and get really granular with those permissions. Do we have any other questions? That was a great question. Does everyone feel like it's clear how you go in and create a notification to go out based on a status update? Right. There's no audio feedback, so don't feel unless anyone says no, I don't get it, and we'll just move on. I think what I'll do is show everybody also, since we're in the form settings, really important to always get a reminder on this. The confirmations, I touched on this a moment ago. I want to talk about the confirmations, the form confirmations, because this is where things can get really, really helpful. And so I am currently not sharing my screen. Is that correct? That is correct. I'm just going to make a quick update. Get this back to normal real quickly. And some pause music to keep you guys entertained while I switch between roles here. Pat, that's you. You should be humming along or doing this.
No, I don't want everybody to hang up if I start humming. I could tell you about my cloudy day here in Southern California that we're enjoying. So
I'll take your. I'll raise you very very freezing temperatures and with clouds.
Ooh,
Cloudy
yeah.
days.
Nope. I'm sure we have all kinds of weather with all of our folks all around here.
Okay, so all right. Let me share my screen again. So here in the form, in the settings, same form we were working on before. There's the confirmations. Again, as you saw, there's a default confirmation, just says thanks for contacting us, assuming it's like that standard kind of, contact form, the most basic thing you'd have on a site. So now we can edit this confirmation. We can either add a new one or edit this confirmation, and we can make it say anything we want. So this is just like a little, field text editor. We could say, we can even just say, we want to look a little nicer. Give it a heading and give it a nice color. Thanks for contacting us. So that's something you could do, and you could add, again, well, your logo's already on this site. You don't need to add branding there, but whatever messaging you want someone to get, and that could be different per form. Every different form, you might whip up a quick form for a field trip, and then upon the confirmation of a parent filling out the form, you might want to give them a little bit more information, or give them a link where you can actually place a document in here to be downloaded or something. Now that's a simple text confirmation. You also have the option to send them to another page on the site. So let's say we've got an appointments page, right? So so we're going to save that confirmation, and that's now going to take us to what that means is, so let's say you've got a page that has the tour booking calendar. So somebody fills out the inquiry form and then sends it over, and you've got it right there. Okay, and actually I have to just pause this real quickly. Just bear with me a second. Okay, I'm back. So we've added that confirmation to go to the appointments page. So let's see what that's like now when we go to the form here. So here's the path. I'm on I'm on Facebook. I see your ad. I click on it. I click on enroll now. I fill out this inquiry form. Test inquiry 2 at mailinator.com. Submit. Now let's see what happens. I should have checked that the page was set up properly. Just bear with me 1 second. But you see how it went to, so this appointments page actually has other data on it, but we actually went to the right page, and I just need to make sure that the actual appointment calendar is there. But essentially, you saw that we directed to another page. Well, I'm just going to very quickly make an update to make that look correct. Bear with me one moment. Okay. Try that one more time. I'm going to go to I'll share my screen again, of course. Click on Facebook ad, come to your homepage, click on Enroll Now, fill out an inquiry form. Test inquiry 3. And elementary. And then right here, pick your parent conference session. So, we could title this, pick your, whatever messaging you want here. Please select a convenient time for a school tour. You might offer them every day at 9 a.m. And so that's what people can select. The green is what's available, of course, and then they click on 9, and you're booked, right? So that's the process, and it's a nice, quick way of getting, parents into your enrollment process. And then, of course, with the appointments feature, they select that time, you get notified, they get a confirmation, they get reminders. You can have this all configured. So, from step to step to step, Hubbli is, requiring you just to go in and click a status update to send the right message to the parent, and and then they're on their way. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up for today. I wanted to go over a more basic, use case for the inquiry system, but next week we're going to dive back into using the workflow, which takes this kind of, puts it on steroids, so to speak, where you can add, multiple steps and trigger things at certain times, and really sort of up the sophistication on your system to not just reduce your workload, but really, really importantly, send the messaging out to the parents that help them to self-identify if this is the right school for them, so that they don't cause you more workload unnecessarily, because it's always better if the wrong parent can filter themselves out. And one way of doing that is to be sending them information about the school that helps them understand what type of school you are, and if that can be automated, so you don't have to do it every time, you can send out daily, weekly, monthly newsletter emails, without having to even think about it, then that's a system working for you. It's like having an enrollment, having a marketing person literally doing work for you while you sleep. Okay, so if there are no other questions right now, we'll hop off, and let us know if you'd like to get a recording of today's session. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.